So it's only a few days to go until Comic-Con, and Clever Clogs Kelly over here has decided that she wants to make a dragon head mask. But not just a dragon head mask. Instead of just having a plain dragon mask, which does look pretty cool, I've decided that I want to take this dragon mask to the next level. I want to cover it in scales. The problem is, you have to give the scales texture, cut the scales, color the scales, shape the scales, and then put the scales all onto the dragon mask. I think I've got 4 days to go until Comic-Con, and it's a lot of work. I have to deal with load shedding, I have to deal with my husband's birthday, all of these other things going on in between now and Comic-Con, and as if that isn't complex enough, I'm probably going to need several hundred scales to be able to cover the entire dragon head, because it's quite big. I'm not even 100% sure if I'm going to be able to finish it in time. But let's try. My hair and the room is going to look different because I filmed this about a year ago. And I'm only getting around to posting it now because editing this video and uploading this video has given me major anxiety. Sorry. Now, I made this dragon mask with the use of my Cricut machine, and it's basically just nice thick cardstock, and the Cricut then cuts it into pieces and draws little numbers on so that you can fold everything together, and it kind of works a little bit like a 3D puzzle, which is why I love making these types of things so much. But it is a super fun process and the outcome is going to be gorgeous. But the first step to this process is cutting everything out with my Cricut machine. So let's get clacking. As you know, I have a small workspace, so I'm going to try and encourage the mat to go up as opposed to flat, so that I can use the rest of the space over here to work. Let's see if this works. Winner! I feel like a project like this wouldn't be a project without problems. But of course, when you are time constrained and ESCOM constrained, you have other problems. I need 7 pieces of Cricut Craftboard. Can you guess how many pieces I have? If you guessed 5, you would have been correct. So I don't have enough full pages of Craftboard to complete this project. But luckily, while I was asking my friend if she had any Cricut Craftboard, plot twist, she didn't. I remembered that I actually have offcuts. So you know that reel that says, this has potential, don't be a hoarder, don't be a hoarder, this has potential. These have potential now. So I don't have full sheets, I just have 3/4 sheets that I can use. Basically what I have to do is I have to split up the main design, segment it into different mats, try and make sure that I get everything positioned on the mat so that it cuts on these areas, and hopefully I'm gonna have enough. Literally took me 18 minutes to get that right. The struggles continue. So instead of trying the so-called easy method and having it take me several times longer than what it should be, I did it manually and just adjusted everything so that it fit on the approximate kind of pages that I had set up in the software. Yes, this took me an inordinate amount of time and it was a huge, huge annoyance, but it worked. And if they all come out right, then that is what should happen. Perfect. And now I repeat that process 7 more times. It should go quicker with each one, so here's to hoping that the next 7 will be better than the first. Now that everything has been cut, it's time to assemble everything together. I've had to use pencil so that I can see the numbers easier on black cardstock, but each number will line up with another number and you just need to glue those two pieces together. So you got to play spot the number and figure out which piece goes where, which, yes, is as challenging as it sounds sometimes, especially in the beginning. It gets easier towards the end. But now for a lot of folding and a lot of gluing and slowly seeing the entire thing come to life. It's so much fun. And now it's time for... And now it's time for the next step in my grand master plan. Obviously, to go back to P&A. I need to get some craft foam, and I need to get 3 different colors. Orange, red, and yellow. They didn't have black, so I kind of had to change my plans. And once I've bought that, I'm going to come back and start testing different techniques on how to get the scales to look, well, scaly. And now for the fun task of doing all my tests. I'm going to test to see which color combination works best. And I pretty much only have 2 options because I only have gold and red embossing powder. So my options are a little bit limited at the moment, but I'm sure we'll find something that works, especially because we have lots of other things in this room that may be able to work, so we'll find something. So we have our 3 different options of scales here, and personally I think the red one for me is going to be my favorite, but I do think it's important to have all 3 so that we can have some kind of color variation. Maybe what I can do is I can put yellow on like the tips of the horns or something like that, and like kind of vary the color a little bit. So I'm going to go with majority of the red ones, and then have orange and yellow as my backup colors. So now's the time to cut many of them. As you can see, I've cut different sizes, and I'm going to continue to cut different sizes because not all of the places on the dragon skull are going to need the same sized scales. So time to multiply these into many. Now that I've finally finished shaping all of my little scales, it took a little while to find like the correct way to shape them. I'm going to try and just see what it looks like on the actual model. So when I look at the model, now obviously I'm trying to keep the sizes all separate, so I've got the the baby ones, the medium-sized ones, and then the larger ones. But I kind of just want to start putting a few down just to see what it's going to look like, if this is the actual method that I want to go with. And if I want to continue on this path and then color them, like that one, I'm going to have to shape it a little bit more because it doesn't quite curve like the others. Also, now that I'm realizing I'm probably going to have to start like down there and then build up like that, because obviously these scales at the back need to be overlapping the ones on the front. But I think that is absolutely the direction that I still want to go in. And I'm definitely going to need to use my hot glue gun to stick them all down, because I think that'll probably be the easiest and quickest way. But just having the foam curl like that when you expose it to heat was actually brilliant. And I'm almost 100% sure that this is not going to be nearly enough scales. So while I still have electricity, I'm going to cut more scales because I've got tons of foam, so why not? The only thing that I am running low on is embossing powder. I've got about half a tub, so let's hope it lasts me for the duration of this project, because I don't know where I'm going to get some more if I run out. I might have to go drive around to a whole bunch of P&As to try and find them, but let's see. Let's cut some more, curl some more, and then color them all and see how that goes. It's now Tuesday morning, and I have pretty much a full day today and like a half day tomorrow to finish this, if I want to get it done by Thursday, which, you know, it has to be done. And last night I was having a thought. Instead of covering the horns in scales at the top, these bits here, and I still need to fix this tip because they're both pointing in the same direction and they need to be pointing in opposite directions. Instead of covering those in scales, what if I cover them in faux leather so that they look more like horns and less like obviously scaled, because they are horns. So I want to go through my leather to see what color I have that could possibly match. So I have black, and this is the genuine leather, so it is nice and like an even color and everything. And then I have a dark brown as well, gold, which will absolutely not work. And then I have again, rose gold, which won't work. Cranberry. I actually kind of wanted to go for a lighter color, like a light white or a cream color, but I don't have the right color unless I go to a fabric shop and buy faux leather there. Probably would be the best bet. And considering the amount of scales that I've already gotten, I either need to get started on those scales, applying them to the dragon. But in order to get the dragon scales on first, I kind of need to start at the back, which means I need to get the horns sorted so that I can put the scales overlapping the horns and stick those down. So I kind of need to do the horns first, because all the scales will be starting at the back and working my way forward. So you can see my dilemma. And these kinds of projects are just like working through the problems to see what you're going to come up with and what you're going to eventually do to solve the problems. Work the problem, basically. So I managed to find some faux leather, which you can see there. It's like a light tan kind of color. There's 24 inches on this one, so there's a lot more than there would have been on the genuine leather. And the genuine leather is like really thick, so it doesn't work as nicely when you need to like bend things. So maybe what I'll do is I'll bend it and ply it and see if I can get it wrapped around the horns, because then if that doesn't work, then what I'll do is I'll go to the fabric store and buy more faux leather to test out with a different method. So wish me luck. So if you can have a little bit of an imagination, that's kind of what the horns will look like. And then the scales will be overlapping that. I think it's going to work quite well. I just really need to fix this tip. Look at that, it came right off. Yay! So now it's supposed to go on that way. all is right with the world now. So the plan here is to kind of take the faux leather, fold it around the horn as much as I can, see where it links up, and then cut it there so that I can start working with not the entire roll. It will work because it has to, and then I cut it slightly too small. But that's fine, we can fix that. We can always just have scales coming up the one side at the back or something like that. Putting a flat object around an object that curves is very tricky. Try and see if I can get it looking a little bit form-fitting, but it won't really ever be actually form-fitting, so that's okay. But we'll just have to make do, because I mean, not all horns have to be the same anyway. Just hoping I don't cut off too much. The ideal way to work with this now at this point would probably be to put contact glue on this and contact glue on that and glue them together. I mean, maybe there's a better option, but I'm not a cosplayer, so I don't know. The horns are all done, and I have lots of scales that I have made. I'm hoping this is going to be enough, but if not, I can always stop in the middle and make some more. I didn't want to make too many and then have hundreds left over, so I'd rather make too few and then have to make a few more. So the idea is to start with the scales up at the top and bring them forward. I want to do the smaller scales around the eyes and around this area, with the large big scales up at the top here near the horns and on this section here. Let's see. I'm also going to be using my glue gun because I think that this might be the best way to get them on. But again, let's test it out, and if it doesn't work, we'll change our plan. Wow. My top glows quite nicely. So it's currently load shedding, and obviously load shedding is putting several spanners in the works, as it always does. So I've got to just turn on some lights that you guys can actually... There we go, that's a little bit more diffused and a little bit better. This is what we do during load shedding. We have rechargeable lights so we can work while the power is off, and obviously it's at night, so I get to now work on making some more scales because I absolutely do not have enough scales. I'm beginning to wonder if even the scales that I've made now are going to be enough. I'm more than likely going to be working through the night, or at least till very late, to make sure that I have enough, because this is how far we've gotten with the scales that we do have, and I've obviously got the majority of the dragon left to cover. So will I make it? Will I finish it in time for... I pretty much only have tonight and tomorrow up until around 6 o'clock because it's my husband's birthday and we're going out for dinner. Yeah, I'm kind of screwed. But hopefully this will be the easier part, the sticking them all down and inking them now while the power's out. I'll just have to see if I can get it all done in time. Stay tuned, you'll see. I worked until 3 in the morning last night, and this is how far I got with the dragon. Not very far at all, but I do have lots more scales, which is what I was doing last night, so I need to curl them and apply them, and definitely move on to orange because I've run out of gold embossing powder. So if I need more scales, I'm going to have to go with orange and red. And I have a non-decaf coffee to get me through. Fred, this is not the time for you, sir. Let's hope it gets done. For the 400th time in this video, I am out of scales. I do have a few more snippets of red with gold embossing, and I do have some orange with gold embossing, but I'm also completely out of gold embossing powder. I could go and try and find some more by phoning different P&As and trying to find some, because my local P&A doesn't have any. But that's probably going to cost me a lot more time. So I've focused mainly on getting the top half of the dragon finished with the gold and red. And now what I'm going to try and do is move over onto orange with red embossed so that we can clean up and finish off this bottom half of the dragon. And it's looking like I'm probably going to be finished by the end of the day. So fingers crossed. I do need to fill in some spots here where I am missing some color, and that will be with the spare red sheets that I have. I might just cut those out by hand, cut some smaller ones to just fit in there and cover that up. And then I've still got to do the back as well, but that will then be with orange and red embossed as well. I do have 2 more things of red foam, so maybe I can do red with red embossing. That's also an option. So still some challenges ahead of me, but we're making some good progress. It is now a little after 2:30 in the morning. Comic-Con is later today, and this is how far I've gotten with the dragon. So I'm not going to do this little section here, but I've got that and the back left to do, and the same section on that side. So we're mostly done, which is a miracle, and I'm probably still hyped up because I'm not yet tired, which is weird. But the problem that I have is that I do need to cut more scales, and to do more scales will take an hour at least, because I've got to cut them, color them, and bend them with a heat gun, which is noisy, and at 2:30 in the morning, not really the best thing to do. So hopefully I can do it quickly and get it all done. Somebody is trying to tell me something. I want to clean my mat, but I can't because it won't be dry in time to be able to start a new cut. The foam is no longer sticking to it as well because there's a lot of debris. I'm not particularly fond of this color of embossing powder, and I don't want to just put whatever on it just to finish it. It looks relatively finished if you don't look at the back. So I think I'm gonna go and get a good night's sleep and take it out tomorrow for a whirl. I do need to recut one section of the inner hat because I didn't do that properly, but that's quick and easy. I'll do that quickly before I go to sleep. For me it's gonna be a while, but for you it'll be a few seconds of wearing the mask at Comic-Con. So excited. Before we get to the final results, I wanted to say a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. You guys have been incredible throughout the years, and you really help me to be able to keep a little bit more of a stable income to be able to make videos like this possible. This is the first video of its kind and of its type on my channel, so if you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment to let me know what was your favorite part of my video. And I'm ridiculously excited to make more of these going forward. I've got so many ideas and so many projects planned that I really know that you're going to love so many of them. You're going to learn some things as well as be entertained in the process. And it's most definitely not me wearing the costume at Comic-Con because I'm short. So somebody else volunteered to put it on and walk around with it at Comic-Con. Bye, Fred. And he and the crowd absolutely loved it. Do you think I should make more of this costume? Let me know. But let's take a look. Once again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this, and remember, be kind to someone today. See you soon!